Okay, we'll get started. So yesterday we were discussing about a replication controller. As we discussed, right? We should not create a parts directly. If part goes down, it will not be rescheduled. So we have to use controllers which will manage the part life cycle. We created a replication controller. That replication controller is managing the part life cycle. So let's see how can we scale up, scale down the replication controller. Let me connect to the server where I have a kubectl installed.
Balaji, one more question. Sorry.
Can you, uh, post question in the chat box, or maybe you can keep in the group so that it will be helpful for others also instead of deviating the class. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sure.
So we created a replication controller yesterday. RC. RC stands for replication controller. So the replication controller is managing this pod. If you see what we have as of now, only one pod in this namespace. So this pod is managed by this replication controller. To access this pod, we have a service. This service. This service is having a selector. This selector is basically this pod label. This service has a selector, right? This selector is nothing but we have given this as a label for this pod. So this service we can access within the cluster using this service name or cluster IP with service port, this port. For outside, we can access using the node port and node IP. The node IP is any IP within your cluster, either this one or this one or this one. With this port outside. We can access outside with this one and make sure you have opened the port security group AWS. And within the cluster, you can access using this service name. So now we can scale up this replication controller. We have only one replication controller, right? This replication controller. We can scale up something like this kubectl scale RC. RC stands for replication controller. And the replication controller name. This is my replication controller name. Hyphen replicas. Something like this 2, 3, whatever it is. So if you see now, we are scaling. So this replication controller now has 3 pods. This replication controller has 3 pods. Now our service has how many endpoints? So this service has 3 endpoints. So because it is able to find, the service is able to find 3 pods with this labels. So labels and selectors are very, very important, guys. In one Kubernetes, one object will find another object by using labels and selectors. Service will find pods with the help of labels and selectors. When one object needs to find another object in Kubernetes, we will use labels and selectors. Labels are key value pairs. Labels are key value pairs. Right? So labels are key value pairs, which we will use. One object will identify another object using its labels and selectors. Right? Labels are key value pairs. Selectors is like a condition. So here, for replication controller, this selector is not mandatory. It will manage. But when we are trying to create advanced objects like replica sets, so we have to give a selector. We will be able to scale up, scale down this replication controller, right? So far we are doing manual scaling, right? What type of scaling we are doing now? As of now, we are doing only manual scaling. We are manually able to scale up, scale down the pods, right? I scale down to 2, one of the pod is getting terminated. So it's manual scaling. So in future class, we will see how can we auto scale our pods. What is the meaning of auto scale, right? Based on the load, it can increase the number of replicas and it can decrease the number of replicas. Based on the load, it can increase the number of pods and it can decrease the number of pods, right? Kubernetes will support auto scaling of the pods. That we will see once we learn the basics. This is a replica set. So we have few more objects. Sorry, this is replication controller. So we have few more objects. Replica set, daemon set, deployment, something like this. So we have a replica set, same like replication controller. What is replica set? It's a next generation of replication controller. So replica set will also manages pod life cycle. We can scale up scale down pods, right? But only difference comes in its selector support. Only difference comes in its selector support. So in replication controller, right, we are writing something like this. Replication controller, metadata, something like this. Just to give an example. Replicas, whatever replicas, 1, 2, here selector. Here we are giving something like this, key and value. Key and value, right? Something like this. We have given app, Java web app, something like this. You can give something like this, one more also, something like this. Key and value. Then your template, your part template. Your part template. So whatever selectors you have given, that is your labels here. You can give one label or two labels. So for your pod manifest, you can give two labels, but here you can just give one. It will try to match only this one. Or if you want to give, you can give both, something like this. So selector and label. Then your pod specification, your containers information. Your image name, all those details. This is, you can give something like this, image name, your container name. Something like this, port mapping. So this is your replication controller, right? So replica sets, it's next generation or advanced generation of a replication controller. Replica set will also manages the pod lifecycle. We can scale up, scale down the pods. Only difference comes in its selector support. Here, this selector here. What type of selector it is, right? We have two types of selectors, equality based. It's equality based selector. What is equality based? Equal condition, key equals to value, something like this. We also have a set based selectors. We have two types of selectors, equality based selector, set based selector. Equality based selector and set based selector. In equality based, basically it's a equals condition, right? Like key equals to value, something like this. It is like key value, something like this, right? It is some like app Java web app. And in case of set based selectors, it is like a conditions like operators. You have a in, not in, right? Like expressions. We can use expressions like if you like see SQL queries, right? You can have a queries like select star from employee where employee name equals to Mithun, right? That is equal, match only one value. Whereas expressions, set based selectors, right, where like we can use in, not in operators like select star from employee where employee name in Balaji or Mithun, right? Key is same, it can match with multiple values, just some advanced selector, that's it. Here we can use something like this. Something like this, it's match expressions under this, right? Key, your key something like this, you can give key, your label key, operator, whether you are using in or not in, something like this, in values. You can give multiple values. It can match something like this, something like this. So key and value can be either this or this. So it supports set based selectors. That is the only difference. It supports equality as well as set based. That is the only difference. So when I try to write a replica set, it will be exactly same thing. API version. What is the API version for replica sets? It's app/v1. It's advanced generation, next generation of replication controller. Replica set. And here, equality based also, we should not define something like this. We have two things here. Match labels, right? Then something like this. If you want to match with single value, you can use something like this. Match labels, key and value. Key with single value if you want to match. This is equality based selector in case of replica set, where in replication controller we are just defining something like this under selector. But here match labels. Or if you want to use expressions, something like this you need to use match expressions. This is the only difference. When it comes to replication set and replication controller. Now let me create a replica set for some other application. I'm trying to create a replica set for another application. API version app/v1 kind replica set metadata. This metadata is for what? Right? This is for this replica set. Name, spec. Here replicas. How many replicas you want to create? Selector. Here selector is, you can use match labels or match expressions. I can give something like this app, Maven, web app, template, the pod template, metadata, name, labels, whatever selector I have given, right? That will be my label. Then your pod spec, Maven web app container, image, from which image, Docker hands-on slash Maven -web -app. Let me give something, this version of the image, ports, container port 8080. So yesterday few people were getting that image pull back of that error, right? Why do we get that error? Because if you give some image and a tag which doesn't exist, so when I try to create a pod, when I try to schedule this one, the scheduler will try to schedule this pod. The kubelet will talk to the Docker and it will try to pull the image and it will try to create a container. If I don't have this image, if I don't have this image in the repository, we will get an error. You have to check both your repository plus tag. Both should be there, right? It is not something like you have just this one, right? With this version also you should have an image. So let me show that now. kubectl apply -f. I'm applying this kubectl get all. Let me clear the screen and show you to you. You see error image pull. You describe your pod. You describe your pod. Here, if you see here, what it is saying, fail to pull, fail to pull image, right? So here image with that version and tag, it's not there. So that's why we are getting error, right? Yes, Docker basically here, kubelet is trying to fire a Docker command here. Kubelet is trying to fire a Docker command. So Docker only will pulling the image, right? If you already have an image, it will not pull. If you want to always pull, you can mention that as well. Even the image is there, if you want to pull the image from repository, you can mention. There is a you can use one option, image pull policy. You can mention while creating a pod in the pod manifest, right? In the pod manifest, you can mention image pull policy, like always. If you mention that, even though image is there, it will try to push. So Kubernetes, the kubelet is trying to interact with the Docker runtime to pull the image and create a container. So now I don't have that image. Whether it's a public repository or private repository, right? If you see, this is my repo where I don't have an image with that tag version 100, right? I have only latest 1, 2, and 4, right? If I don't mention anything again here in my manifest or while executing a command, if I don't mention any tag, it will consider which one basically? Latest, right? So if you see kubectl get rs, I have one replica set, desired to, current to, ready 0. What is the meaning of this ready? Is our pods are ready as of now? Expected, I was expecting 2 pods. Currently there are 2 pods. Currently there are 2 pods, but is it ready to use, right? Is it running successfully? These 2, right? It's not working. If you want to delete replica set, you can delete something like this. Now let me apply. Now if you see, these pods are running. We have a pods, 2 pods up and running. I deleted, so it is getting terminated. I executed kubectl delete, right? So it is getting terminated. So now these are the pods which are up and running. Now how can I access these pods now? What needs to be done? Whether I want to access within the cluster or if I want to access outside the cluster. Again, what needs to be done? We need to create a service. So we already have a service, right? Then why again another service? This service is pointing to which pods as of now based on the labels and selector. This service is for only this application. This service is only for this application. So we created a pod. So these 2 pods has these labels. You can give any key value pair, right? These 2 pods has these labels. This service has this selector. So this service is only for this. Now let me create a service for this. You already know what is cluster IP, what is node port. I will directly create node port. Even though I create a node port, cluster IP will be allocated for this, right? So even though I create a node port, within the cluster, you will get a cluster IP. V1 kind service metadata name of the service, whatever you want to give, spec, what type of service you want to create. I want to create node port service, selector, ports. Here you will have a port. This is the service port and target port. If my container is running on some port, that is my target port here. Now optionally the node port. Optionally the node port. You can give something like this. If you don't give, Kubernetes will randomly allocate the node port. Kubernetes will randomly allocate the node port. What is the node port range? So it will allocate in 30,000 to 32,767 within that range, right? So let Kubernetes allocate. Now I'm trying to create a service. I'm trying to apply that change. So there is no change in this replica set. That service got created. Now I have a service. This service, right? Within the cluster, I can use service name. And outside the cluster, I can use node IP and node port. Now, if you see, let's try to see. This is running on default service port 80. So I no need to mention the port. Now we are getting error, connection refused. Connection refused. And I am trying to access outside with that node port. Let me open this port in the AWS security group. If you see from outside also, I'm not able to access. So what is the problem? What is the problem? I have a pod is up and running. Pod is up and running. I created a service. kubectl describe service. Why service doesn't have any endpoints? Why service doesn't have any endpoints? That is target port correct only, right? 8080, that is your container port. So why we don't have any endpoint? Your port mapping is correct. The target port is 8080 only. So what is the problem if you observe? I have a pod with these labels. I have pod with these labels, app, Maven web app. And I created a service. This is the selector. Is it matching? Key and value. So my pod has a key, app, Maven web app. My selector is name Maven web app. Do I have any pod with that label? So it's not matching, right? So labels and selectors are very important, guys, in Kubernetes, right? If you mess up with your labels and selectors, it will not work as expected. So what can I do now to address this issue? Either I need to update the label of my pods, or either I need to update the selector of my service. So we can edit the service. How can I edit the service? Guys, using commands also you can edit, create, delete, interactive, imperative, right? I can edit something like this, kubectl edit svc, that maven web app svc. I can edit something like this, it will open something like this. I can edit, I can press Ctrl I, that I in the insert mode, and I can edit whatever I want to edit. The selector, this selector I can edit. I can use this kubectl edit if I want to edit, or I can edit my manifest file. I can come to this manifest file. I can update my selector. Then I can apply this change. I can apply this change. So I have not edited here. Okay, I have just executed this command, but I have not modified. If you see, I have cancelled that edit. So this command I just executed to show you, but I have not actually edited. I have cancelled. I have not done any changes by executing this one. So I just modified this one and I applied the change. If you just modify the YML, right, it's a file. You are just modifying that YML. It will not reflect. You have to apply those changes, right? If you are modifying, if you are using manifest. So I modified this YML, then I am applying. If you just modify, it is just a file. It will not reflect if you just modify. You need to apply those changes. So now we updated the service. Now let's see if I am able to access. Now we are able to access within that cluster. Now outside the cluster, right? Within this, I have this application, maven I think web-app. This is my application context. Do you see? Is it working from outside? So this is one application. This is another application. Both are running as Kubernetes. Both are running as Kubernetes controllers, Kubernetes pods. As we already know, the moment I created a node port service, if you see 30484, this port is opened. This port will be opened in all the servers, all the Kubernetes machines, all the nodes. So we have a 30,005, we have a 30,484. So again, it's a node port. Request will be processed by actually it will be taken care by kubeproxy, right? When we are accessing something like this, the moment I create a service, node port service, the moment I create a node port service, that port will be opened, that port will be listening in each and every Kubernetes node. So we have this also up and running. Again, it's a replica set, right? You can scale up, scale down the replica set also. Now these two parts are managed by which controller, which Kubernetes object? Who is going to manage the pod lifecycle of this, right? This replica set. And this one is managed by this replication controller. Can I create n number of replication controllers, n number of replica sets, right? Maybe you might be confused. I am creating only one replica set, one replication controller. Can we create n number of replication sets, replication controllers, and services? Right? You can create n number of replication controllers, replica sets. Right? You are going to deploy your applications as a controllers, either replication controller or replica set. Right? Now we have a one more Kubernetes object. We have a one more Kubernetes object. First, let me scale up, scale down. Right? If you want to scale up, scale down this one, you can scale up. kubectl scale rs replica set. This is my replica set name. Hyphen replicas. I can scale up. Desired 3, currently 3, ready is 2. Ready is 2 because it is still under creation. So once it is ready, you can see desired 3, current 3, and ready 3 because all the parts are up and running. Now this service will be having how many endpoints? We have a service. This service will be having 3 endpoints. So you can scale up, scale down replica set. Any object if you want to debug, right? If you want to see more details, you can use describe. What you want to describe, whether you want to describe a pod or whether you want to describe a service. If I just execute SVC, it is describing all the services. If you want to describe specific service, you can give that service name. If you want to describe only this, you can give that name. Similarly, if you want to describe RS, you can describe that RS by giving a name. So it will show you the information about that replica set. If you want to see about pod, kubectl describe pod, right? You can give that pod name. So it will describe the pod. What is happening? Pod is successfully, that container is successfully started. Now, if you want to execute commands on a pod's container, pod will have one or more containers. If you want to execute some commands, or if you want to go inside the container, the pod container, we can use this kubectl exec. Kubectl exec, your kubectl exec, whatever pod, right? You can execute commands ls, right? Or they're saying use this option hyphen command, right? Something like this. Suppose if this pod will have 2 containers, Suppose you have 2 containers. How can you do that? Suppose if your pod has 2 containers. So when I execute a command, on which container it will execute, right? So it will get confused. So if your pod has 2 containers, you can use one option called -c. On which container? Within that pod, if you have a 2 containers, you can give container name. If you see, my container name is something else. I'm giving something like this, Maven web app. What it is saying? Maven web app is not valid for this pod. I don't have a container with this name. So I have a container name is something like this. So if your pod has 2 containers, more than one container, you can use this option while executing Docker logs or while executing while executing kubectl logs or while executing kubectl exec. You can use kubectl cp if you want to copy files, right? You can use kubectl cp if you want to copy files from server to that pod container. The way you have a Docker cp, you are going to use here kubectl cp. If I want to check the logs, right, I can execute something like this. If you just have only one container, you no need to mention -c. If you want to execute logs, check the log, kubectl logs, your pod name. If you want to go inside kubectl exec, if you have only one container, you no need to mention. -it, right? You can execute something like this, /bin/bash. So I'm inside my pod container here. I'm inside this pod container. If you want to come out, let me execute exit. You can come out. Okay. So now this is how you can check your logs, all those stuff, if you have any issues. We created a replica set. We have a replication controller. What is the difference, guys? In interview, they may ask this question. What is the difference? Both are same. Only difference comes in its selector support. It's advanced feature. It's advanced feature of, right? It's advanced feature of replication controller. Suresh is asking how to get all the containers names inside a pod. You describe the pod. You describe your pod, right? Your pod name. kubectl describe. So here, right, it is giving all the information, how many containers you have, from which image it has created, what is the port, when it is started, all those stuff, right? Since this pod has only one container, this is my container name, which you have given in your pod manifest. It is not something new, right? This is what you have given in your pod manifest. So we have one more Kubernetes object called daemon set. What is difference between replica set and daemon set? I can create a daemon set. It is exactly same as like the manifest looks like this. The manifest looks like this. I can create a daemon set. I can create a daemon set, something like this. So what is the difference between replica set and daemon set, right? In Docker, you have two types of services. Docker service is different, guys. As I told, Docker service is like a containers plus communication. But here, the Kubernetes service concept is only for a communication. So in Docker, we have two types of services, right? We can Docker swap. We can create two types of services. What are those? In Docker, we have created two types of services. What are those? Replica and global mode, right? So replica mode and global mode. Global mode is like each and every node will have a copy of container, right? Similarly here, if I create a daemon set, what will happen? Each and every node will have a copy of the pod. The daemon set is like a global mode. The daemon set in Kubernetes is like a global mode. So if I create a daemon set, right? Each and every node will have a copy of the pod with this information. It will create a pod in each and every node. Can I scale up, scale down the daemon set? Can I mention the number of replicas? Something like this here. It will not allow me to mention the number of replicas. So we can scale up, scale down. We cannot scale up, scale down daemon set. Each and every node will have a copy of the pod. Something like this. Let me create some daemon set. Let me create some application. Let me see if I have any other application. Just to demonstrate, I will use this application, Node.js application. I will apply this one as a daemon set just to demonstrate. Something like this, I'm giving one file name, API version. What is the API version for daemon sets? It's app/v1 kind daemon set metadata name for your daemon set. Spec here the pod specification. I cannot give something like this. It will not allow me to define replicas because it's a daemon set. Each and every node will have a copy of the pod. So I cannot define the replicas. Selector. Again, it's advanced. So equality based selector, you have to mention something like this, match labels. Then template, your pod template. Metadata. Name, your labels. something like this. Then spec your part specification. Containers. Image, right? Docker hands-on slash that whatever I want to deploy. Node app MSS version is 1. So here I don't have, I think, with colon latest. So I need to explicitly mention. If I don't mention this one, we don't have a image with tag colon latest. Again, you will get a error. So I'm just giving something like this. The port, I don't know what is the port we used in that one. When we created 13 days ago. I think for this one we created for this node, not this one. Node app MSS, I think for this one. So I think they have hard coded the port, something like this. What is the port? 9981, I think. Yes, this is the port 9981. That is something like this. So now I can create a daemon set. As of now, I don't have any daemon sets in this namespace. Let me create a names that kubectl apply. Guys, in some of the interviews, they're asking this question also. What is difference between kubectl apply? There is a command like kubectl create and kubectl apply. So you have like this also, like kubectl create, kubectl update, kubectl delete, and kubectl apply. Delete, right? Delete, we can delete. You can use something like this, kubectl apply or create, update, right? So what is the difference between create and apply, right? Apply is like combination of create and update. So if that object is not there, what it does? If whatever object you are trying to create, the Kubernetes object, when you execute apply, if that object is not available already, what it does? If the object is not there already, if it is not existed, it is not created, what it does? It will create. If it is already there, if that object is already there, and if you are using kubectl apply, it will try to see is there any changes in the manifest with your object. So what it does? It will update if there is a change. If there is a change and update. If I already have if I already created, if I want to do some modifications again, can I use something like this? If I want to update, I cannot use this. I need to use this if it is already there. So that's why instead of using create or update, we are using apply. We are using apply. So it will like a combination of both. So sometimes they may ask this question also. Now I am trying to apply. So since it is not there, it is going to create. I'm applying that manifest file. So there might be a typo. 。 . 。  . 。 . 。 . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . I have given port. It is not port. It's ports. Now the daemon set got created. The daemon set got created. Now if you see why it is creating two pods. Why it is creating two pods? Because I have two nodes. I have a master node also, but why it is not considering that master node? That we will discuss in the advanced classes. Because master node has some taints, our pod is not tolerating the taint. So that's why the pods are not getting scheduled in the master. If you see whatever pods we are creating, right? As of now, it is not getting scheduled in the master. Because master node has a taint and our pods are not tolerating that. So what is taint? How to tolerate that we will discuss in the next classes. Now I have a daemon set also. So these pods will be managed by this daemon set. Again, if I add any new node, to this cluster, do I need to make any changes to have a pods of the daemon sets in that new node? If I add any new node in the future, do I need to make any changes again to have those daemon set pods in that new node? So it's exactly like global mode in the Docker swap, right? So it will, whenever you add a new node, the pods for the daemon sets will be created under that node. So now we have a daemon set, we have a replica set, we have a replication controller. So again, what type of applications I can deploy as a daemon set? Here I used our application, right? But what type of applications we will deploy? Like any software, any software which is required to run in each and every node, like internal softwares like monitoring agents, log agents. Suppose I am trying to monitor this cluster using Prometheus. Prometheus will have some agent like node exporter. Each and every node, that node exporter software is required. You can deploy that node exporter container, the node exporter pod, as a daemon set, so that each and every node will have that exporter. So that exporter will send the metrics to Prometheus. Suppose you are trying to do log aggregation, log monitoring using like Elasticsearch, Filebeats, Kibana, right? So those logging agent softwares also you can run it as a daemon set, so that in each and every node those log agents will be there. So it will collect the logs and it will send the logs to the central server, those agents. Our applications, our own applications, right? Our applications, how can we deploy? What object we can create, right? We have a replication controller, we have a replica set, and you have a deployment. There is a one more object called deployment. Which one you can use? You have a replication controller. That is what first initially the Kubernetes has given to deploy the application. Later they have given a replica set. We can use replica set or we can use replication controller. And we have a one more object called deployment. So what we can use out of these? We have a replication controller for our own applications to deploy. We have a replica set, right? And you have a deployment. Guys, there is a one more object called stateful set. I will come to that. What is that? Later. This we will discuss later. Stateful set. There is a one more object called stateful set. So we have this replication controller, replica set and deployment. Out of this, which one I can choose, right? So we can choose deployment. Deployment is the recommended way to deploy the applications. Deployment is the recommended way to deploy the applications in Kubernetes. Why? What is the drawbacks, or what is the not the drawbacks, like what are the problems with this? Is it not managing your pods? Is these controllers are not managing your pods? It's managing, right? If the pod goes down, it is recreating, it is rescheduling. But what is the problem, right? Suppose there is a change in your image, there is a change in your code. You have created a latest image and you want to deploy that latest image. How can you deploy if you are using replication controller and replica set? Right? Will it update the image? Like, will it update the pods if I update my replica set or replication controller? Let me show that. Now, let's take replication controller or replica set. Why this is still container creating? What is the problem? kubectl describe. Because my server is just 1 GB server, guys. It might not have enough CPU and memory, right? It might not have enough CPU and memory. That's why container is not coming up. Okay. So while you are practicing, try to delete. Let me delete. Guys, if you want to delete all, you can execute kubectl delete all --- all. So it will delete all the objects. Currently, it is pointing to which namespace? If I execute something like this, currently it's pointing to which namespace? Which context it is pointing? Which namespace? Default. Can I switch the context? I mean to say, instead of default namespace, can I point to the different namespace? I think I have given in the running notes, right? I'm not sure how many of you checked. Right? Currently, I don't want to use -n. I don't want to use -n. Without -n also, I want to point to a different namespace. So I can point to the different namespace. How many of you saw that? Did you observe my running notes? Are you going through my running notes? This is the running notes which I have shared, right? Did anyone went through this running notes? Okay, so out of 34 people, I think they're not, these guys, you guys didn't went through the running notes. So then what is the use of sharing running notes? So here, right, you can set the context to the different namespace by default, right? It is pointing to the default namespace. So if you want to change the context, you can change the context. Something like this: kubectl config set context, whatever namespace you want to set. Example, something like this. After that, you whatever commands you will execute, kubectl commands, it will point to this namespace, right? If you want to switch it back to default, you can switch it back to the default again. So this is how you can set. Okay, let's wait. Guys, I have lot of pods deployed. My servers are just 1 GB servers. So you see it's already not responding. Let's see. Now containers are getting terminated. Let's get terminate these pods. Guys, if something went wrong with your nodes, right? How can you check? How can you check, right? Suppose if something went wrong with your nodes, first you can check whether your nodes are ready or not. You have a nodes, right? Whether your nodes are ready or not. If you see why this is not ready, what could have went wrong with this one? Because we deployed lot of applications, it might be running out of memory, right? The kubelet is not working as expected. The kubelet is not working as expected. Describe node. Let me describe this node, right? If you see, the total limit may be over by 100%, over committed. And this is, if you see, what is the problem here? Kubelet stopped posting the node status. So what is kubelet? What is kubelet? Kubelet is a node agent which is running on that node that is stopped posting the status. Why it might have stopped? Because there are a lot of applications which you deployed. Kubelet is also one process. Kubelet is also one process. Kubelet is also one process, right? So if that is running out of CPU and memory, that might have went down, right? So you can go to that server and you can see whether kubelet is running or not. If it is not running, you need to restart the kubelet or you need to restart the server so that it might become again back. So which server is that? The server, this server 99. This one 99. So it's not responding. Let me restart. You can restart the node itself, but you should not blindly restart the node, right? First, you can see like whether your node is responding or not, right? You can check the logs, your kernel logs or that kubelet logs, right? What happened, why it went down, right? Now, if it is not responding me, so the only option I have is just to restart the node. If it is responding, right, I can go and check why it went down and all those stuff. But anyhow, so where it is maintaining the cluster state, if I restart that node, will it impact where the cluster state is maintained? All the cluster information like nodes, pods, deployments, replication controller, replica set, right? The etc. So it's not responding. I have the only option to restart. So while practicing, guys, try to have a high configuration servers, or maybe try to delete, don't deploy multiple applications because you have just 1 GB server, right? Your pods, your containers will take some CPU and memory, right? If you deploy more containers, more applications, all the applications will be impacted. So meantime, let's explain what is the problem with the replication controller and replica set. Suppose you deployed replication controller. Or replica set. You deployed with this image. Let's assume you deployed with this image. Your pod is running on this image. And let's assume there is a change in your latest code. There is a change in the code. There is a change in your code. Now you want to update your Kubernetes pod. Your pod container is running on this image, right? So if you just update your replica set with latest image, another image, it will not update. Your pods will not be updated. Your containers will not be updated. Your containers will not be recreated with this image. So if you want to update, what you need to do? The replica set and replication controller, you need to delete the replica set or replication controller so that it will delete the pods. When you recreate the pods, then it will create with the latest whatever image, right? So in this case, can I achieve zero downtime deployments if I use replication controller or replica set? Because I want to delete and again I have to create. I want to delete and I want to create. In this case, if I have to update my containers, so I need to delete and recreate these replication controllers and replica sets. And again, if something went wrong with your latest image, your latest code is not working as expected, what should we do? Ideally, if your latest image, right? Roll back. We need to roll back. Again, replication set and replication controller, it will not maintain what is the previous version of pod template you are using, right? Again, you cannot roll back. You need to delete again. Again, you need to make changes to your YML and again you need to apply. So Paramveer is saying on apply, it happens automatically, delete and create. Just give a try on the replication controller and replica set. It will say updated, but go and verify your pods. your parts will be still running on the old version, whatever version you initially used. So in Kubernetes, deployment is the recommended way to deploy our applications. In Kubernetes, deployment is the recommended way to deploy the application because of some features. We can update the deployment. What is the meaning of updating the deployment, right? You can deploy latest containers, latest pods, and you can roll back to the previous revisions if something goes wrong with your latest code. And also you can achieve zero downtime deployments. There are some deployment strategies like rolling update. There are some deployment strategies, rolling update, recreate, right? So deployment is the recommended way to deploy the applications because of we can update the deployments, we can roll back the deployments, we can achieve zero downtime deployments. That is recommended, but it is not mandatory. Based on the requirement, you can either go for a replication set or deployment. So again, if I go for a deployment, again it is going to create replica set only. I am going to create a deployment. Deployment will create a replica set. Replica set will create a pods and it will manage the pods. Whenever I update the deployment, it will create another version of replica set and it will update the pods. In Kubernetes, deployment is the recommended way to deploy a pod because we can update the pod specification, the pod templates. We can roll back to the older versions of your deployments. We can scale up, scale down. And there are some deployment strategies. We can achieve zero downtime deployments using this object. So how to do that? How to create a deployment, right? What are the deployment strategies we have? We will discuss tomorrow, right? Whatever we practice today, just whatever we discuss today, just practice those things. Now let's see kubectl get nodes. Now I restarted it back to normal. And I have deleted all the applications. So I have deleted everything. So it's back to normal. While you are practicing, try to deploy 1 or 2 applications. Don't deploy 4 or 5 applications if you are using just 1 GB RAM as your worker machines. Okay. So we'll continue tomorrow with this, guys. What is deployment? We have some deployment strategies like rolling update, recreate, how to create deployment, how to update deployment, right? Now, before wrapping up, let me show that. So this one, let me apply this replica set. Now I created a replica set. My parts got created, right? If you describe the part, what version of image it is using, let's see. What version of image it is using? It is using :latest. Since I have not mentioned, it is using :latest. Now I want to deploy another version of the image. I want to update this one. Now if I see here, if I make a changes here, whether do I have that image? Maven web app. Yeah, I have a version 1. So I'm trying to mention that one. If you see, I'm making a changes. I have done the changes. It is saying it's configured, but is your parts got updated? Is your pods got updated with that? Is your pods got recreated? Is your pods got, your containers got recreated with that? Is it using that :1? Is it using that image, right? Unless until your pod is deleted, it is not going to be created with the whatever changes I have done. In case of replica set and replication controller. That's why, right? The Kubernetes is having one more object called deployment. So you can use deployment so that you can update your deployments, your containers. You no need to delete and again apply. So deployment is the recommended way to deploy the applications in Kubernetes. So then why you are explaining all these things? You can directly explain deployment, right? Why are you wasting 2 days, 3 days time, right? You should know all the concepts like how, what is what, right? Maybe you have you don't have that requirement. You just want, you can delete and recreate. So then you can go for a replica set itself. So tomorrow we'll continue, guys. We'll continue on this, how to create a deployment, right? So far whatever we discussed, practice, will continue tomorrow. So migration, right? What is migration basically? Like you are moving your master machine from one server to another server, right? So someone was asking, I think, can we have a multiple masters? Do we have a multiple etcd? Yes, that is what high availability, right? So that is what high availability. In case of multi-master, you will have a multiple API servers. etcd also you will have multiple replicas. So if you want to migrate, right, the Kubernetes, you need to migrate your etcd. That etcd is again running as a pod. You can copy that, you can have a backup of the etcd data, and you can create a cluster with that backup. You can restore the cluster with that data. That is not something we will do. Okay, guys, we'll continue tomorrow, right? Try to practice whatever we discussed. I have to start another class. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.